Coming up on Business Report Africa, EU to give $1.2 billion to Ivory Coast cocoa sector. Ethiopian Communications Authority denies shortlisting telcos for mobile licenses. Rolls-Royce announces total care agreement with Uganda Airlines. Chinese imports to Kenya decline. Details on these and more after the break. This is Business Report Africa, brought to you by your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS TV. I am Ruel Panawa. Now, Ivory Coast cocoa sector is expecting about 1 billion euros, which equals $1.2 billion from the European Union, who is planning to provide this over 6 years as Ivory Coast adapts to European Union supply chain laws towards sustainable cocoa production, which are to be introduced later this year. Now, being the world's largest cocoa producer, Ivory Coast has begun negotiations with the European Union to agree on minimum sustainability standards. Ivory Coast had been urged previously by the European Union to prepare for stricter cocoa laws. Now, the body has plans to ratify this later in the year with the aim of protecting forest, ending farmer poverty and curbing child labor. Representing the leading destination of Ivorian beans, the European Union accounts for 67% of the country's cocoa exports. The cocoa sector in Ivory Coast is responsible for the employment of nearly 1 million small farmers and represents 25% of the economy and 40% of export earnings as well. As it advances with plans to increase connectivity, Ethiopia is in the process of deregulating its telecommunications sector to attract global firms, boost businesses, and create more jobs. On November 27, 2020, the country issued a request for proposal inviting international mobile phone operators to bid for 2 nationwide full-service telecommunications licenses. According to the Communications Authority, the bid submission date slated for April 5, 2021. There are claims that the European Communications Authority had shortlisted certain telecommunications companies for mobile operator licenses. This started when a media company stated wrongly that along with 5 other telecommunications companies, Safaricom had been shortlisted to bid for the Ethiopian telecom licenses. This news of the shortlist threw the mobile operator's stock price to an all-time high of 39.25 Kenyan shillings. This has been rejected by the Communications Authority in a tweet, stating, "We wish to clarify that to date no proposals have been received for the 2 new telecom licenses and no prospective bidder has been shortlisted, pre-qualified, nor excluded from participating in the bid process." The ROFP process is ongoing. They made it clear that bidders had neither been pre-qualified nor excluded from the competitive bidding process. Automobile company Rolls-Royce has signed a total care agreement with Uganda Airlines for their 2 Airbus A330neo planes powered by the Trent 7000 engines belonging to Rolls-Royce. In December 2020, Uganda Airlines first received its first A330neo. The second followed through in January 2021. This total care agreement, through a $1 per flying hour payment mechanism, gives Uganda Airlines a secured cost of operating and maintaining their Trent 7000 engines and long-enhanced aircraft availability due to advanced engine health monitoring and inclusion of product durability and reliability improvements. Accumulating more than 150 million engine flying hours, the 68 to 72,000 LB Trust Trent 7000 is the 7th and largest member in the Trent family of engines, enabling the A330neo reduce environmental impact with a 25% improvement in fuel burn per seat as compared to previous generation competitor aircraft and a significant noise reduction. According to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, China, being the largest importer of goods into Kenya, has had its value of imports fall in the past year by 15 billion Kenyan shillings to 36 to 361.5 billion Kenyan shillings from 376.7 billion Kenyan shillings in 2019. In 2020, the total value of imports into Kenya was 8.8% lower than the value of imports in 2019, and at the end of December 2020, imports into the country amounted to 1.64 trillion Kenyan shillings compared to 1.80 trillion Kenyan shillings the year before. According to new research, more than half of UK employers have plans to recruit new staff in the next 3 months. The CIPD human resources body has said this is the first positive sign for employment prospects it has seen in a year, up to 56% of 2,000 firms surveyed have planned to hire in the first 3 months of the new year. Sectors with the strongest hiring intentions include healthcare, education, ICT, finance, and insurance. Joanne Davies from the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development, CIPD, which carried out a survey with recruitment firm Adecco, has said, and I quote, "Our findings suggest that unemployment may be close to peak and may even undershoot official forecasts, especially given the reported fall in the supply of the overseas workers." According to the survey, the number of firms with plans to make redundancies in the first quarter of 2021 dropped from 30% to 20% in comparison with the previous 3-month period. There's more coming up on Business Report Africa. I will be back after this short break. The Nigerian government has concluded with its plans to begin with the supply of electricity to the Republic of Togo from the Calabar Power Plant, which is located in Odukpani local government area of Cross River State. Engineer Kasim Abdullahi, Executive Director Generation, Niger Delta Power Holding Company, NDPHC, revealed this at an inspection tour of the plant a few days ago and said the company has the power purchase agreement due to supply 70 megawatts of power to the West African country, and discussions are taking place to supply another 100 megawatts to Paradise City in Calabar. He made emphasis on the fact that the company is working to improve power supply to Nigerians through eligible customer framework. According to Abdullahi, Calabar is one of the plants where Nigeria has bilateral agreement with Togo with a PPA to supply about 70 megawatts, and there are also ongoing discussions with other potential customers in Calabar like the Paradise City, where they are willing to offtake 100 megawatts. Ahmet Aydin Dogan, Turkish ambassador in Rabat, met with the Speaker of Morocco's House of Representatives, Habib El Malki, on Friday, February 19th, to discuss cooperation and trade. Now, while this was a courtesy and friendship meeting meant to mark the end of Dogan's diplomatic mission in Morocco, both officials seized the occasion to speak on consolidating broad-ranging bilateral cooperation between the two countries. Expressing his satisfaction with the state of Morocco-Turkey ties, the Turkish ambassador explained that the ongoing dialogue between the two parties was to a large extent brought about by the recent renewal of their free trade agreement to the benefit of both countries. The Turkish diplomat invited El Malki for a working visit to Turkey and said there was a need to further discuss strengthening diplomatic and trade ties between the legislative institutions of both countries. El Malki stressed the investment potentials and other economic opportunities that have arisen in Morocco's southern provinces. The Moroccan House Speaker invited Turkish investors to take part in the development and investment race the region has seen in recent months. The meeting comes as both countries seem to have completely put behind them a recent heated trade dispute in November 2019, where Morocco threatened to walk out of a 2006 free trade agreement with Turkey based on the argument that it was one of the many deals that were of no benefit to the Moroccan economy and country at large. On Monday, February 22nd, petrochemical firm Sasol revealed that it had decided not to pursue a rights issue of up to 30 billion rand, which is $2 billion, after it saw significant progress in its turnaround strategy. Sasol, being the world's top manufacturer of motor fuel, has been battling with high debt, lower oil and chemical prices, and a long list of financial issues during the coronavirus crisis. This forced the company to sell assets and restructure parts of its business. Now, according to Sasol President and Chief Executive Officer Fleetwood Grobler, the company aimed to announce further asset sales of between $400 million and $500 million by the end of 2021. The company had received $3.3 billion so far from asset sales and was considering selling its stake in the Romco gas pipeline from Mozambique to South Africa. Shares in the company then rose more than 4% in early trade before giving up gains to stand just 0.1% higher by 13:38 GMT. In 2020, Sasol said it would issue up to $2 billion of shares in the second half of 2021 to help with its debt. However, by December 2020, the company was able to repay around 28 billion rand of debt. The company aligns this achievement with working capital, a strong cash cost, and capital expenditure performance in response to the challenging environment. On Monday, February 22nd, India signed a landmark Comprehensive Economic Cooperation and Partnership Agreement, CECPA, with Mauritius. This is the first of its kind with an African nation, and it sets the country at a pace for business expansion in Africa. S. Jaishankar, External Affairs Minister, said while addressing the media with Prime Minister Pravin Jugnauth in Port Louis that a special day in their special relationship had been marked. He proceeded to talk about how India is privileged to have entered into a comprehensive economic cooperation and partnership agreement with Mauritius, which will provide a timely boost for the revival of the post-COVID economies and enable Indian investors to use Mauritius as a platform for business expansion into Africa, thereby propelling the prospect of Mauritius emerging as a hub of Africa. The agreement will encourage Indian entrepreneurs to invest both in Mauritius and across the region, provide preferential access to Mauritius for bulk of the trade, and also for many aspirational items for the future into the Indian market of over 1 billion people. This includes frozen fish, fresh fruit, mineral water, medical and surgical equipment, and apparels. The current global import of India on this product is well over $15 billion, and Mauritius will get preferential access for export of 40,000 tons of sugar into India at an early time frame. Similarly, there will also be access for the export of 7.5 million pieces of apparel. And to wrap this up, Bitcoin finally entered a sharp swerve on Monday, February 22nd, after it registered more than 40% straight gains in the past 2 weeks. The Bitcoin price took a dip below $50,000 levels, correcting over 15% from its all-time high. Even though the coin had recovered partially from the low, it is still 8.13% down at press trading at $52,126 with a market cap of $968 billion. According to on-chain data provider Sentiment, Bitcoin whales have been behind the recent correction. Over the last week, the number of whale addresses with a minimum of 1,000 Bitcoins dropped to -2% from 2,462 a week back to now 2,416. The same observation was gotten from data provider Glassnode. They wrote that Bitcoin whale addresses holding between 1,000 to 10,000 Bitcoin were increasing over the last year, calling it a whale spawning season. However, it adds that these addresses have been reducing holdings over the last weeks. The market mood has improved today, February 23rd. Fears of inflation boost commodities and commodity currencies, while Bitcoin dives in choppy trading. All eyes are on Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell's testimony, and the topics of inflation and surging treasury yields would be the focus. After American shares retreated again, Standard & Poor's S&P 500 futures are rising, and the benchmark 10-year bond yields are below their peak of 1.40%. Thank you for watching Business Report Africa. Do follow us on social media at TOS TV Network on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at TOS TV Network. I am Ruel Panawo. See you tomorrow.